Oi, oi. Here we go again. Part 3. Now, what we're talking about today, a little bit different one. We're going to be doing a thing called a growth mindset. Do you have a growth mindset? This is what we're going to be trying to find out today. And that's the reading we're going to be doing. So, usual pattern. I'm going to talk a little bit randomly, ramble on for a few minutes first of all. You can hit the fast forward button, and hopefully then we're going to be getting on to some reading. We're going to do this reading today, read that together, and then afterwards there's a few exercises. Now, as usual, under this there's a little button somewhere, left, right, can never remember. There's a little button which is, you can expand the drop-down menu underneath. I'm going to put some links in there. On these links, you're going to get the today's PDF, as usual, from the British Council. And also, you can either print it out, as I said, or you can get your phone out and you can look at it and try and read at the same time. Do whatever you like, but let's try and read together, okay? Also, a few other links underneath. There's a mail address, I think, down there now. And also comment section, which it'd be nice if some of you could actually use that. That would be great. Also, what else have we got down there? Oh yeah, I think today, what I'm gonna do, you're gonna like this. Those kids who've already been in my class, you might know that we do a little blog for reading. So what happens is you read a book very happily, and then when you finish reading the book, you write a little book report and you send it in. So what I think I'll do from today is I'll put in a link to the blog and a link to the email address with instructions somewhere in there that you can actually send in your reading reports into the blog. Now, we're in April now, so technically we're going to be starting school soon. So any book reports I receive on that blog from now on, they'll count towards your grade. Think about that. So while you're sitting there at home, you can start doing a bit of reading, nice English book, read the book, enjoy, of course, and then do a little bit of the old book report and then send it into the blog, and then that's gonna already start bumping up your grade when we actually get around to doing your first lot of grades in September. Isn't that wonderful? I thought that would make you happy. I'll see if I can get that done. Of course, I've got to update the blog. Some of you have been whining because I haven't updated the blog. You're right, I'm lazy. I haven't updated it yet. I'll update it maybe today, if I have the time, all right? Anyway, there we go. So the blog, let's get to work on some book reports and things like that, just like we do when we're in regular school. Okay, so today's topic, as I said, is this thing. I've already thrown it on the floor. Growth mindset. Do you have a growth mindset? There you go. Oh, got a haircut. Did it myself. Bet that surprises you. Anyway. Got a haircut, never mind. What we're going to do is we're going to try and do a thing about a growth mindset. Now, you're students and I'm a teacher, and apparently there are various ways that we can help your minds develop properly, or as they should, into reaching their maximum potential. And this is the idea of getting a growth mindset. Now, this idea originally came from, I think, a lady who worked at Stanford University. And it's pretty interesting, actually, if we go through a few things today. I want to touch on a few topics, as usual. Very, very random, as usual. And what we're going to do first of all is, as I said, teachers, students, there are certain ways that maybe we can help promote this growth mindset. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I've got a link apparently over here of, I've got paper rather over here of things that apparently we should not say to you. All right, because these are very bad. If we say, there are a lot of bad things that we can say to you, and sometimes I feel like saying a lot of bad things to you. But here's some of the bad things that we can say to you. All right, the first thing we should not say to you is act your age. Act your age. Apparently that's bad. All right, but the next one is more interesting. You're so smart. You're so smart. You are so smart. We're not supposed to say that. I don't think we're supposed to say the opposite of that either. But apparently, today's lesson's about this. We're not supposed to say, you're so smart. So if a teacher ever says to you, you're so smart, please, just ignore them. Anyway, another thing we're not supposed to say is, weren't you listening the first time? Weren't you listening the first time? Do I say that? No, I never say that. I always patiently sit there, and you little angels, and I'm saying, okay, open your books, page 45. And, usually one of you will open the book at page 45, and then I'll say again, please open your books at page 45. And then a few others over there will start opening your books at page 45. And then eventually we get so patient. And I never say, weren't you listening the first time? Another thing, apparently, that we shouldn't say to you is, I can't hear you. Even if we can't hear you, apparently, I suppose we should say something like, oh, that was very good. Could you say it again in a louder voice? I think I say I can't. I've said I can't hear you many times in this media center. I know that. That's because you speak. I can't hear you. Yes. But anyway, so I'm not saying I'm a perfect teacher. I'm nowhere near. Your parents are realizing this as they watch this video. Maybe another thing that we're not supposed to say is this one. Oh, maybe you're just not a math person. Okay? Maybe you're not. No. Maybe you're just not a math person. Now, we're not supposed to say that. I probably don't say that to people, but maybe your maths teachers say that. But we're not supposed to say that. We should not say that. I think that discriminates against, people like me who are not maths people. I'm proud of it too. Anyway, these are some of the things apparently we're not supposed to say to help you get this sort of growth mindset. Okay. Now, also, of course, teachers, we will have many faults, and sometimes we say things which aren't quite right or aren't quite true. So again, just to sort of educate, inform, entertain you, I've found a list of, internet is great for lists. Found a list of stupid things teachers have said to students. Okay, so here's a bunch of students who report really, really dumb things that teachers have said. Okay, let's go with number 1. My computer teacher told us, if you select cut on an image from a website, it will be removed from the website and it will upset the website maker, so we had to just use copy. All right, so there you go. Never select cut on a website. That's what one teacher says. Next one, number 2. while teaching Japanese history, my teacher was entirely convinced that the suicide of a Japanese samurai was called Sudoku instead of seppuku. Sort of thing which samurai enjoy doing. Teacher obviously thought it was Sudoku. Here's another one. My teacher said, if a bug was in an airplane, it would not be able to fly forward because it could not fly faster than the plane was moving. That's a good one. Another one. My teacher said that dogs have evolved longer faces so they could smell things around corners. That's probably almost true. Okay, another one. This is good. This is the sort of thing I say. My teacher said a person with an eye infection can spread the eye infection just by looking at you. Okay, and another one. The moon is just another star like the sun. Anyway, there we go. Those are some of the great things that teachers have said. I, of course, occasionally teach things like unicorns are an endangered species, but they still exist. Never mind about that. So we're going to get on to this sort of mind. Well, no, we're getting slowly and slowly towards this idea of the growth mindset. All the while trying to make your minds grow by telling you different things, I suppose. But anyway, we've done things that teachers shouldn't say, dumb things that teachers actually do say, and well, we're going to get around now to your brains, your lovely little brains, which apparently weigh about 1.3 kilos. That's interesting, isn't it? And it's a funny pink color, I think. And apparently, I mean, though I don't know, I've been well informed that if you touch a brain, it kind of gives that sort of icky, soft mushroom texture. Yummy. But apparently, even though, our brains is only 2% of your body weight, apparently the brain uses 20% of the body's energy. There you go. There's another thing to remember. This is a good one I've got here. Your brain stops growing when you are 18. Wait. But don't start calling your parents stupid yet. It actually keeps developing and learns new things until you're in your 40s. There you go. I still have a few years to go. Okay, there you go. Oh, another thing is, you see that little light bulb, in a comic or something, idea. Apparently our brains do actually produce enough electricity to power a light bulb. And another thing, apparently, they send we've got all of these things called neurons in the brain, in the brain, which send little messages around. And apparently they send more messages in one brain than in all the phones in the world. There you go. Fantastic fun facts. Absolutely staggering. So getting back to children's brains, growth mindset. How are we going to do that? Before we get on to that one, let's go to I want to go to 3 famous child prodigy. Child prodigy, this word prodigy means, kids who are super talented, super smart. Usually if you say child prodigy, you think of, those kids who are really good at maths. Usually they're taught by parents at home, and they sort of graduate from university or something when they're 15 or something like that. You see child prodigies like that. But of course there are a few famous child prodigies who are, everybody knows. And I think we've got him again. I've got the usual flashcards, the expensive flashcards here. Remember this guy? Here he is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who's that? Well, of course, it is Mozart. Mozart was, one of the sort of all-time famous child smarty pants. And there's a lot of stories about Mozart and how sort of smart he was. And I think one of my favorites is that Mozart, went by the age of 14. Of course, he was like very, very famous, and he got invited. He went to Rome to see the Pope. The Pope lives in the Vatican in Rome, and the Pope had this favorite piece of music. I think it was by a guy called Allegri. It's called Miserere or something like that. It's one of those pieces of music that they use in lots of films, like that. It doesn't go like that, but they use it in films for atmosphere and things. Anyway, Mozart got taken to St. Peter's in Rome to see the Pope, and this was the Pope's favorite piece of music. In fact, the Pope loved this piece of music so much that he only allowed it to be played in the Vatican, I think, in his house or in where he lives. And he only allowed it to be played, I think, once a year, maybe at Easter or something. And and it was top secret. No one else was allowed to play it, and so he wouldn't let the sort of notey things, people. It wasn't allowed to leave the Vatican. No one was allowed to have the notes for this favorite popey music. So anyway, Mozart, he went to he listened to this music. He went to the concert where there was these children and people, and they were singing and playing this. Well, you get the idea. And Miserere, it's called, by Allegri. You can look it up on the internet. It's been used in loads of movies. Anyway, Mozart sat there, and he liked it. He was like, this is catchy, and but of course he didn't know how it was written, and so he went home that night with his dad, and he couldn't sleep. So just for fun, because this is the kind of thing Mozart did just for fun, was he thought, and he wrote out from memory the whole piece. He remembered every note, and went back the next day and maybe just changed it, but he could remember the whole thing from memory, one listening. That's Mozart. That's an amazing story, isn't it? I always wonder if, Mozart, he's kind of lucky he didn't go to my school, because, I think he wouldn't have had a great time at my school. I think, if you'd gone to my school, Fatty Francis and his droogies, droogie, you better have a Google of that word. Fatty Francis and his droogies, they weren't very nice boys. They would have had a word with Mozart. I don't think they would have liked Mozart. I think Mozart's trousers would have been flying out of the classroom window during break time, actually, quite honestly. Anyway, Mozart, child prodigy. There we go. Next one. Let's see if you can guess from the photograph of the painting who this child prodigy is. So, who is it? Did you guess? Did you get it? Well, it's, of course, Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso was indeed a child prodigy. I mean, you have to just look at the stuff that Picasso did. He was brilliant. You have to just look at the stuff that he did. I like Picasso very much. I've been to Malaga was where he was brought up. I've been to the museum there. Great place to see some unusual and rare Picasso paintings. Picasso apparently, according to his mum anyway, and we all know that mothers always tell the truth about their children. According to Picasso's mum, before he could talk, he could draw. He could draw before he could talk. And according to his mum, again, is that Picasso, the first thing he said was he asked for a pencil. So, according to Picasso's mum. Anyway, so Picasso was another sort of famous child prodigy. And another one, the final one, because usually, as I said, you usually think of child prodigies, you think, oh yeah, Mozart, of course. And then you think of those mathy people who are just, they can do maths. But, you've got other ones like Picasso, who was an artist when he was very, very young. And then, but in literature, you think of writers, I love literature, and you think of writers and you think, well, most of them maybe you don't have child prodigy writers, do you? Wrong, you do. There's one. His name is Rambo. Now, when Gavin says Rambo, I know what you think. This is what you think, isn't it? Now, obviously, I think this Rambo is a genius, but that's not the Rambo I'm thinking about here. The child prodigy I'm talking about here is the French poet Arthur Rimbaud. He is one of the world's few sort of literary prodigies. He was a kid in France, grew up 1870, I think he was. When he was 15, he ran away from home. But when he was 15, he also published his first works. And the thing about Rimbaud, which is really, really interesting, he was really famous. He was admired by great French literary giants like Victor Hugo. And he stopped writing when he was 20. He started writing when he was 15, and then he got to 20, hit 20, and said, no, that's it, finished. One time. And died young, sad. Here's his photo. There he is. Pretty cool guy, actually. Huh? Yeah. Like his hair. It's pretty rad. Yeah. Anyway, Rimbaud. There you go, Arthur Rimbaud. He was a literary child prodigy. Anyway, before we get to the reading, I'm going to actually do a little experiment on you. Excuse me, but that's what teachers do. We're going to do a little experiment on you, and I'm going to give you 6 animals. And I can see this is going to go badly wrong, because I'm actually going to try and put these on the whiteboard behind me, and they're probably going to fall down, and you'll just giggle. But anyway, I'm going to give you 6 animals. Now, this is the challenge. And there's 6 animals, and okay, 6 animals. I want you to figure out how to separate these 6 animals into 2 groups of 3 animals. Okay. Okay. You got to do that. Animal number 1, wankle, dog. Okay, I'm going to put these on the whiteboard behind me to help you remember them. And then, of course, you can pause. Animal number 2. I hope you're writing all this down or something. Here. Budgie. There you go. Budgie. Animal number 3. Shark. Animal number 4 is a bear. Animal number 5, goldfish. Animal number 6, fox. Okay, there we go. So we've got 6 animals. I'm going to put them on the whiteboard. So I'm going to have to get up. This is a new innovation now. And you have to separate them into 2 groups of 3. Let's see if you can do that. I'm going to go up there, do this. You might want to pause or something. Anyway. We good? Can't see me. You can see my butt probably. Hold on. One more moment. Ta-da. Okay, so your job now, I don't know what you can see right now, but your job now is you got these 6 animals, you got the goldfish, the fox and the shark and the bear and the budgies and you've got the dog. Your job is to divide them into 2 groups. I guess we can do the pause face right now. Okay, so now the purpose of this exercise is actually, disappointingly for some of you, it is to actually tell you there is no right or wrong answer to this. Okay, now some of you are now thinking, oh no, you're disappointed because you wanted to get it right. But maybe that's not the right way of thinking about this. The more important thing is to show you, but actually there are many, many different ways of figuring out this little quiz. Okay, so for example, I don't know, some of you could have thought, okay, let's take a look. You got a fox and you got the bear and you got the dog. 4 legs, yeah? 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. So you could have done that. And those guys go in that group because they've got 4 legs and the other guys, no, they don't. Or you could have thought, oh, wait a minute. My friend has that. I just realized the fish is upside down. That's a that's synchronized swimming goldfish there. My friend has got a goldfish, and my other friend's got a budgie, and I have a dog, so those are pets. Bam! The other guys are not really pets. No one's got a pet shark. Well, you might have a pet shark, but you'd probably be, that's probably not normal. I don't know, what else could you, oh, wait, here's another one you could have thought of. Let's see if you thought of that. Fur. What's got fur up there? You got a fox that's got fur, hasn't it? Yeah, and the bear and the dog. You could have put the fox dog. And the bear with they've got 4 legs too. 4 legs. You could have done it anyway. And the point of this, for the growth mindset thing, is to sort of figure out, well, there are different ways to figure things out. Okay, so there you go. Disappointing for some of you. Maybe some of you think, oh, I've got the right answer. But there are more than one right answers. And this is kind of what we're approaching here with this growth mindset idea. I'm going to take these down now because obviously it's going to be a massive distraction if I've got an upside down goldfish behind my head. All right, so 1 moment, please. Let's live dangerously. Okay, so anyway, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to finally, this is the part which you probably fast forwarded to, I hope anyway, we're going to get forward to today's reading, okay? And today's reading, let's see, it's called Do You Have the Right Mindset? Right, now, before I begin, as usual, got a little bit of vocabulary for you. Let's see what we've got here. First word. Praise. Praise. I think many of you know this word. This is when someone tells you you're doing very well, or it's very good, or that's wonderful, Or that's pretty good. Well, you know the idea. Okay, there you go. Another word. This word here. Vulnerable. If you're vulnerable, you have a weakness. A vulnerability is a weakness. Vulnerable. I'm sorry, my finger's in the way. Another word here. Well, it's not one word, it's two words. Performance orientated. So, a person who is performance oriented. Did I just say performance orientated? I always make that mistake. Performance oriented is when somebody who is just geared, just interested in their results. Okay, so how is my performance? How was my score? People who are just interested in that, they're performance oriented. I always say orientated. Okay, another one. Here. Persevere. Now, to persevere means to keep going, to not give up, to just keep on, keeping on. Now, I'm hoping it's getting a bit dark. I forgot to turn the lights on today. I hope it's okay. Anyway, do you have the right mindset? Here we go. You've got the reading now. You've got it on your screen or whatever. We're going to go through the reading. Okay, do you have the right mindset? Think back to when you were in a classroom, maybe a maths classroom, and the teacher set a difficult problem. That could have been any time between this morning, probably not, and a few years ago. Which of the two following responses is closer to the way you reacted? A. Oh no, this is too hard for me. I'm not even going to seriously try and work it out. B. Ah, this is quite tricky, but I like to push myself. Even if I don't get the answer right, maybe I'll learn something in the attempt. So, early in her career, the psychologist Carol Dweck of Stanford University gave a group of 10-year-olds problems that were slightly too hard for them. One group reacted positively. They said they loved the challenge and understood that their abilities could be developed. She said they had a growth mindset. Now, and they are focused on what they can achieve in the future. But another group of children felt that their intelligence was being judged and that they had failed. They had a fixed mindset and were unable to imagine improving. Some of these children said they might cheat in the future. Others looked for someone who had done worse than them to boost their self-esteem. Does that sound familiar? Anyway, Professor Dweck believes that there is a problem in education at the moment. For years, children have been praised for their intelligence or talent. This makes them vulnerable to failure. They become performance-oriented, wanting to please by getting higher grades, but they are not necessarily interested in learning for its own sake. The solution, according to Dweck, is to praise the process that children are engaged in, making an effort, using learning strategies, persevering and improving. This way, they will become mastery-oriented, i.e. interested in getting better at something, and will achieve more. She contends that sustained effort over time is the key to outstanding achievement. Psychologists have been testing these theories. Students were taught that if they left their comfort zone and learned something new and difficult, the neurons in their brains would form stronger connections, making them more intelligent. These children made faster progress than a control group. In another study, underperforming school children on a Native American reservation were exposed to a growth mindset techniques for a year. The results were nothing less than staggering. They came top in regional tests, beating children from much more privileged backgrounds. These children had previously felt that making an effort was a sign of stupidity, but they came to see it as the key to learning. So, go back to our original question. If you answered B, well done. You already have a growth mindset. If A, don't worry. Everyone is capable of becoming mastery-oriented and with a little effort and self-awareness. There we go. So that's today's reading. So as you can see, if you don't get good results on a test, that means not that you're stupid and that you should give up. Like these Native American kids, you train yourself to just enjoy studying a little bit for the effort of studying. In a way, that's what we're doing now. This is not going to be on any test, so you don't really need to study. But still, study things. The things that I put in the drop-down menu underneath, maybe some of those are a little bit interesting to you. Look at those. Push yourself in that way. Develop your own growth mindset, your own set of interests. Now, also at the beginning of this very long video, I suggested also about the books. That gives you a great opportunity to get your own interests and develop your own growth mindset. So, take a look then at the exercises, which I don't have on this desk. Take a look at the exercises which are there. Try and do those exercises. Take a look at the discussion questions. And also, if you have anything to write, pop it in an email. And also, let's get some stuff going in that comment section underneath. Got 1 or 2 comments, but look at the comment section. Let's try and get, why don't you write in some of the, we did stupid things teachers have said. I'm sure everyone can remember stupid things that some teachers have said. You don't need to mention their names, but it would be nice to hear some stupid things that teachers have said. Anyway, let's remember today's lesson. We can all get a growth mindset. Thank you very much. See you again.